call for you today. Hey, that's a new feature of Zoom. We're always learning stuff.
You have to
But
get
yes,
your permission.
we are recording this call, and so that you all can watch it back on our website. We'll post it there. And but we don't send out the PowerPoint, and we do post it, and we do blog the call today. So my name is Jessica Pierce. I'm our Career Connector CEO, and we are thrilled that you all are here today. I see some of you already starting into the chat. So what I encourage you all to do is open up your chat box. It's at the bottom of your screen. And if you're on your phone, usually there's 3 dots on the bottom right-hand side. Open up your screen, and we would love to hear from you today. Just drop in the chat where you're calling us from, what job or industry you're interested in. So start with those 2. But then during the call today, jump out to your browser and go to LinkedIn and give us your LinkedIn URL so we can all connect with each other. So I want you to be doing that today. That's one of the ways that we try really hard to keep the call engaging and to keep all of our speakers and candidates talking to each other. It's the best way we have for networking. All right, so I think Sheila, if you want to move to the next slide, there's just some text stuff I wanted to show you guys. That just mentions a little bit about what we're asking you to do. If you have control over your display, one of the great ways is if you use the speaker view. So the view is up in the right-hand corner of your screen for most people. If you click on view and then you click the speaker view, it says side-by-side speaker. That way, when we have our speakers, you'll see the presentation, and then you'll see only the speaker that's speaking. And so thank you, Paul. We appreciate you dropping in there with your LinkedIn URL, and you're calling from Jersey. I see that Robin is in here and looking for HR and has dropped the LinkedIn URL. So that's what we're looking for. We have someone calling in from Miami, Glendale. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So if you are interested in getting closed captioning today during the call, use this QR code right here that's showing on the screen. You can use the QR code, and then you can also just use the bit.ly and put the event ID in. So we'll drop this in a couple times today so people can grab the closed captioning if they would like. All right, so we have a full agenda for you guys today. We are going to be welcoming Abby Kohut. She is going to talk success for the season search. Then we have one of our awesome volunteers and also professionals, Gian Boldy from LPL Financial, here to talk about some tips while you're going through career transition in the finance area. Then we're going to hear from Republic Services, Robie from Republic Services. We're going to hear from Robin at HonorHealth and Anna at the Entrepreneur Source. And then at the end, another way we try to connect you directly with people that can support you in this transition is doing breakout rooms. We call them breakout rooms, but basically at the end of the call, you'll get to pick who you want to go talk to. So you want to go talk to one of our speakers, you want to go talk to one of our coaches, our LinkedIn coach, a resume writer, a career coach, or something else. Or maybe you want to go talk to some of our other resources that are out there. So you're going to be able to talk to any of our hiring companies or speakers at the end of the call today during the breakout session. All right. So again, we're so thankful we're here, that you're here with us today. We know events are starting to open up a little bit. So we will be having live events likely in Q1 is probably the target where we'll come back with some live events. But as you can see, we have people here from all over the United States. Milwaukee, welcome. Virginia, hi. Peoria is here. Miami, you guys can see we are now serving people all over the United States. So we will continue to do these virtual events and continue to expand our reach. But we will bring back some live events, at least in the Phoenix area soon. All right, I am really excited to introduce you all to Abby. Abby Kohut is known in the job search world as Absolutely Abby because she tells the absolute truth about the job search process. In the past 25 years, Abby has held corporate recruiting positions in a variety of industries and is responsible for helping 10,000 people get hired. Her website, absolutelyabby.com, which was selected as one of the top 100 websites for your career by Forbes, teaches candidates secrets, the absolute truth about the job search process that other recruiters won't tell you. Absolutelyabby.com was mentioned on CNBC as one of the top 3 websites for career changers. And CNBC published an article naming Abby as a top career coach and recruiter. Abby is one of the top 100 influential people online, according to Fast Company magazine, and is known as Ask Abby on LinkedIn. Since 2012, Abby has been on a mission to help 1 million job seekers, and she drove around the US in an RV in order to accomplish her goal. In fact, she came out to Arizona multiple times in that RV. And so that's when we met her back in 2012. Her job search adventures were covered by several nationwide TV and radio networks, including Fox 5, Sirius XM, NBC, Bloomberg, LinkedIn, Monster, and so on. Abby employs lighthearted humor to help her job seekers understand what they need to learn. So can you please help me welcome Abby Kohut? Welcome, Abby.
Thank you, Jessica. It's my great pleasure to be back virtually. So I didn't have to get on a plane or anything. I didn't have to drive. I'm sitting here on my couch. People tell me that I look like I'm about to give a reading. So this is just a curtain. I have, it's what it is, having trouble getting like the perfect Zoom.
Oh, she kind of froze a little bit here. Okay. Let's see.
I can get these slides to move. Oop. 1 second. Okay. Anyway, the topic today is success for the season search, the benefit of being overqualified. And if I had all of you in front of me, I would ask you, how many of you have ever been told that you're overqualified? And usually when I do that, about half the room raises their hand. And then I'll say, how many of you were sitting in a room, you felt like you were overqualified, no one said that you were, but you just. So that's when I say, you're in the right place, because we're going to cover this topic and make you feel oh so much better by the end. Okay. So anyway, Jessica read my formal bio, and I just want to speak from the heart a little bit for you today. I have been a recruiter for 26 years now. And yes, I've hired 10,000 people, but what's frustrating as a recruiter, and it continues to be frustrating, is that when I can't hire somebody, I can't call them up and tell them the absolute truth. And that's because the legal department tells us not to do that. So that's why I became Absolutely Abby in 2006. And now I can tell you the absolute truth whenever I speak. And if I talk to you on the side, I can tell you the absolute truth. But if you are a candidate for a job that I have open, I still can't do it. So I kind of have 2 lives going at the same time. But I do want to mention that today I'm going to be telling you the absolute truth, and you'll see what it's all about. Okay? So that's why I'm called Absolutely Abby. I've been on this mission to help 1 million job seekers, and as Jessica mentioned, I drove around the country in an RV. I just wanted you to see what it looked like. It was kind of a really wonderful journey. I'm blessed to have had it. Okay, so I know that many of you like to get the copies of the slides for these presentations, and I would an email to me. This is my email address for the slides. It's slides@absolutelyabby.com. And when
It looks like we might be having some.
remember that this is an email address. This is not a website. Slides@absolutelyabby.com. Just send an email. If someone can put that in the chat, that would be great. So I want to start off with this very important topic, and that is to be the captain of your own career. So I want to talk about resumes first, and that is how many of you, I would ask, how many of you have heard from somebody that your resume should be 1 page in size? Now, I can't see your hands right now, but I'm assuming a lot of you are raising your hand. How many of you have been told that your resume should be 2 pages in size at most? I'm sure a lot of you are raising your hand on that one. And then how many of you have ever been told that your resume could be 3 pages or 4 pages or 10 pages if necessary? And then a few of you are going to raise your hand for that one. Well, the thing is that there is no president of resumes. There is no superintendent of resumes. There is no policeman of resumes. There's no pope of resumes. There's no, I'm thinking there's no king of resumes, queen of resumes, or god of resumes. What this means is that there is nobody that is regulating resumes in the world that I know of. So what that means is that I want you, when you receive advice from anybody, to really think about whether they're giving you facts or opinions. And so today I'm going to be speaking in opinions for the entire time. And the reason is that there are very, very, very few facts associated with the job search process. Today, if I give you a fact, I will actually say this is a fact. But otherwise, you can assume I'm speaking in opinions, and you can assume that my opinions come from doing recruiting for 26 years. I also wanted to mention I'm currently a recruiter. So I'm not just a speaker, I'm actually a recruiter with many positions open, and I'm going to tell you about them all at the end. So you must stick around. Okay, so first I want to talk about what this definition of overqualified is that I'm going to be talking about today. So when we say that you're overqualified, one of the things I believe we're talking about is that you have too much experience. So I'm trying to fill a job that requires, let's say, 5 years of experience and you have 30. That makes you overqualified. And the other one is your title. So I'm trying to fill a position for an individual contributor and you've been a vice president. That could make you overqualified. And also your education. I'm trying to fill a position for a bachelor's degree person and you have a PhD. And the last one is money. So I'm trying to fill a position, let's say for 75,000 and you used to earn 100,000. That could also make you overqualified. So my question is to you, why would an employer want to hire someone who's more qualified than the job requires? The reason is fear. So let me tell you what people are afraid of. First of all, they're afraid that you might have a been there and done that attitude, which means you say you're interested in the job, but then you realize you've been there, you've done that, you did that 30 years ago, you don't want to do that again. The next one is that they're worried that you're not going to take your resume off the boards and you might leave when a headhunter calls you about a better salary and a better title. They're worried about that too. They're also worried that your colleagues and manager might be threatened because you're so good at what you do. And they're worried about you wanting to be promoted quickly. So saying that it's okay to take the individual contributor job, but really wanting that vice president job and complaining about that after a few months. And then last but not least, they really, really are worried that you're going to keep looking. So the moral of the story is the biggest problem with overqualified people is that we feel like it's not going to work out and that we're going to get the I quit post-it note on our desk at some point. So that's really what the issue is. So today, what we're going to talk about is this word overqualified a lot. And I don't like this word. You don't like this word. So what we're going to do is we are going to change the word. And instead of saying overqualified, we are going to use the following. Absolutely qualified. That's what we're going to do. Because I think this is a much more palatable term, right? When you think to yourself, I'm absolutely qualified. Doesn't that sound better? Sounds better to me. So we're not going to use overqualified. We're going to use absolutely qualified. And we're going to talk about this term for a while now. But first, I want to talk about the benefits of hiring an absolutely qualified employee. So let me go through them for you. The first one is, do you believe out there that you are dependable, loyal, and mature? I want you to think about that. And if you think you are, then say to yourself, absolutely. Okay? All right. How about this? Do you feel that you have a shorter learning curve and that you can have fast ROI in your new job? I think you can. Do you agree? Think to yourself, absolutely. Okay. The next one is coming. There it is. Proven track record of success. Do you feel that you have done some great things in your career and you have a great track record? Of course you do. That's a good one. And then how about this? A strong work ethic. Do you feel that you have a strong work ethic, that you're not going to take coffee breaks every hour, for example? You're going to show up to work on time. How about problem solving? Do you feel that you can solve practically any problem in your industry and profession? I certainly can. And then what about a broad range of experience? Do you think you have that? And then how about this? A role model for others earlier in their career. So my guess is that you probably can agree to this, but there are probably another 7 other benefits. So what I really want you to do is get my slides at absolutelyabby.com and memorize this slide, because this slide is something you need to talk about during your interview. Whether you want to go with these topics or others, you've got to talk about why there are benefits to hiring an absolutely qualified employee, which is what you are. And if I had you live and in person, I would ask you to say the following. I would ask you to say, I'm not overqualified, I'm absolutely qualified. And we would do it 3 times in a row, because I really want you to get this. So let's just do it. Like, if you can't say it out loud, just like imagine it. I'm not overqualified, I'm absolutely qualified. I'm not overqualified, I'm absolutely qualified. I'm not overqualified, I'm absolutely qualified. So at the end of the presentation, I'm actually going to give you the stuff you have to say after. Because if you just say that, they'll just look at you and they'll be like, okay. But if you say, I'm not overqualified, I'm absolutely qualified because ... it will work much better. So we'll get there. So today we're going to develop a 3-part strategy. The first thing is we're going to talk about the absolutely qualified resume. And the next one is the absolutely qualified cover letter. And the last one is we're going to talk about the absolutely qualified interview. But before we move to that, we're going to talk about this, because I have a feeling this might be on your mind. Being overqualified is correlated with age, but it is not caused by age. So the reason it's highly correlated with age is because as you get older, your titles tend to go up. As you get older, your experience definitely goes up. When you're 70 years old, you have much more experience than when you're 30. As you get older, you tend to earn more salary. And as you get older, you might even go back for additional degrees. So it's very highly correlated that as you get older, you will be considered overqualified at some point in your career. And I believe that that point in your career will be age 36. And let me explain. When you graduate from college, ads that are out there on the web, you see ads for looking for 3 years of experience, 5 years of experience, but you don't see ads look. I'm sorry, no. If you add 15 to 21, that makes 36, which means that every year over age 36, you are going to be considered overqualified based on any ad that you apply for. So this is why I'm really grateful that you came here today, because we need to talk about the overqualified issue, but we also need to talk about the age issue. By the time we're done today, I promise you, you're going to feel better about both of these issues and know what to say in both cases. So let's talk about the absolutely qualified resume first. So the first thing I want to say is that on the resume, people ask me all the time, how many years of experience should I list? Can I knock things off my resume? Can I just have the last 10 years of experience on my resume? Well, the answer is yes. People can do 10 years of experience, 15 years, 20 years. If I thought to what is the right number of years, there is no right number of years. But I hear a lot that 15 is the right number. However, that is purely an opinion. Again, because there's no policeman of resumes and all those other people. There's not. So you have to make your own decision about what makes sense for you. So I have a resume with 30 years of experience on it. And I've been using a 30-year experience resume for years and years and years. For this year, the first time I was interviewing for a contract recruiting position in the pharma industry, and I decided to knock everything off my resume that wasn't contract recruiting in pharma. And that was the first time I ever did that. But you need to do whatever makes the most sense for you. Everything is fine. I also do want to mention though, if you do drop things off your resume, the first job on your resume should not be vice president. Otherwise, we will know that you're missing some things. And then the number of years of experience on your resume at the top, usually in your summary, is where you put it. So you'll say, I have 30 years of experience because you're proud of your 30 years. But the problem is that number of years of experience is going to make you seem overqualified. So what I would do is I would put, let's say it's asking for 5 years of experience, you can say you have 5+ even if you have 30, or you can say you have 10+ even if you have 30, or you can just say extensive experience, and that should work. Also, make sure you don't do that in your cover letter. People put that number of years in their cover letters all the time. Graduation dates. This is a topic that you, again, have to decide. If you want to, you can have your graduation date in your resume. If you don't want to, you don't have to. You can leave it completely off. I have my graduation date on my resume. I always have. I think when I did my contract recruiting resume with the short dates, I think I might have taken it off. I don't remember. But essentially, you can take off your graduation year if you want to. Okay. And then the other thing is people ask me all the time, I'm applying for such and such a job, and I don't want people to know I have a PhD because they're going to think I'm overqualified. Should I omit the degrees? So my opinion is this. If I had a PhD and I was applying to Walmart or to a supermarket, I would completely remove the PhD. It depends on the job that you're applying for. I'm not going to tell you which way to do it, but if it were me, I would for certain jobs. If it's going to make you overqualified, just take it off. Just my opinion. I'm not telling you to definitely do it. When you do a background check, when we do a background check, it's not going to come up that you have an additional degree. People always worry about that. The only thing that comes up in the background check is what you give us to check. So the extra degrees do not come up. So you can take it off. This is important though. If the job requires you to have, let's say, 0 direct reports, and you had 200 people reporting to you in the past, or if it's a small reporting situation where you're only going to have 3 to 5 people reporting to you and you used to have 200, I would just not mention this big 200 number on your resume. So you would just say I managed a team or managed a department, but don't mention the number. Okay, so there's a bunch of things here. If you are trying to disguise your age, which means you left your year of graduation off, you cut years off of your resume. If you're trying to disguise your age, you should not have an AOL email address because that's an old time email. And there are other ones that are also older email situations like Yahoo. I mean, so many people use Yahoo in my demographic, but that is considered an older email address at this point. The newer ones are Gmail, Outlook, and similar. So do not have an AOL email address on a resume if you're trying to disguise your age. Do not have an objective on your resume because we don't use objectives anymore, we use summaries. And do not say references available upon request. No one's doing that anymore, same problem. If you have it there, you'll be seen as an older candidate. And this one might kind of blow your mind a little bit. If you do double space after periods, that indicates that you're an older person as well, because they're not teaching double space after periods to college kids anymore, simply because we don't have typewriters anymore. So if you are trying to disguise your age, you've got to get rid of the double spaces after the periods. Okay, next is the cover letter. So the first thing you're saying to me, I could hear it, Abby, nobody reads cover letters. Why are we talking about cover letters? I completely disagree with you. I'm a recruiter and I read cover letters, and I believe that many of my peers in HR read cover letters. So I recommend that you do cover letters. I believe it will make you stand out in the crowd. If the cover letter is not, if you can't put a cover letter, like in LinkedIn, it doesn't say put a resume in a cover letter. You can take your cover letter and paste it into your resume, make it the third page or the fourth or the fifth page of your resume. And you can put on the top resume and cover letter at the top of your resume. Then people will know to go look for it. It makes you stand out in the crowd. It shows us your writing skills. It shows us your creativity. It shows your passion, blah, blah, blah. There's like so many things that a cover letter does. Most of the time, a cover letter can actually get you an interview. And I'm not exaggerating. This can do that for you. Now, I'm not telling you to send cover letters to agencies, staffing firms, I'm telling you to send cover letters to HR professionals. So many of you don't want to do this. I'm going to give you a template to make it easier in just a second. But in this cover letter, if you are overqualified by a lot, so let's say that you have 30 years of experience and you are a vice president and you're applying for, let's say you're a VP of finance and you're applying for a financial analysis position. You got to talk about why you're not overqualified. You're absolutely qualified. So you're going to talk about specifically why you're interested in this position. And we're going to talk about that a little more later, but you have to give them your why. Why is this important? Why do you want this job? Okay, that's what's going to go on your cover letter. And then you want to avoid mentioning the number of years. Remember, like I have 30 years of experience. Don't say that. If you're overqualified, I highly recommend you mention your salary requirements. Because if you're a vice president applying for a $100,000 job, I'm not going to believe you're going to be interested in the job and I'm not going to call you. That's the absolute truth. So what I would do if you're a vice president applying for a financial analysis job is I would actually say, I'm not looking for fancy vice president jobs. I'm looking for this job in particular because I love financial analysis and blah, 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 whatever you want to say. And my salary requirements are 90 to 110K. If you did that and you were a vice president with 30 years of experience, I would call you. That's why I say, put your salary requirements in your cover letter only if you're overqualified. Here is my cover letter template. This is an email address, not a website. So if you want to get the slides, you're going to slides, you're going to email slides@absolutelyabby.com. If you want my cover letter template, which I've used to get all of my jobs, it's letter@absolutelyabby.com. All right. Next, the absolutely qualified interview. So the first thing I want to say here is that if you have an interview, I want you to not talk yourself out of it by doing research on the company. So if you research Google, you will see that they tend to hire younger people. And if they invite you in and you're 70 years old, I still want you to go on the interview and believe that they have a reason why they called you. They actually believe that you could fill a job for them in 95% of the cases. I do believe that 5% of the time people are wasting your time by bringing you in. They're just bringing you in for some particular reason. I believe that's true. However, I believe 95% of the time, if someone calls you, they actually think you could fill the job. Right now in this job market, I could tell you it is a hot, hot job market. You guys should not be unemployed for very long. I really believe that, especially if you're willing to relocate. There are jobs everywhere. So if someone calls you for an interview, please believe that they think that you could do the job. And it's important to dress the part. Now, I know I'm talking to people in the Phoenix area, so I can't tell you for sure if you should all wear suits. I could tell you in my area, in the New York area, I always love to see people wearing suits and ties. I'm an old time recruiter. It's just what I like. So what I would do is I would ask the recruiter that schedules it for you, if I wear a suit, would I be overdressed? Or if I wear a tie, would I be overdressed? See what they say, and they will tell you the truth if you say it exactly like that. Also, make sure you expect a younger interviewer. And the reason is recruiters tend to be on the younger side. There are a whole bunch of people in HR right now, but on the recruiter side, they tend to be young because it's the entry level way to get into HR. So they get out of school and they want to get into HR, and you can't just go straight in and do employee relations and manage other people. It's not practical. So you have to start somewhere, and recruiting is a great place to start because you really don't have, there's no school for recruiting really. It's really all about intuition. So you can start as a recruiter right out of school. So that's why a lot of them are on the younger side. And the other thing is you have to check your ego at the door. So I'll tell you this. One of my best friends is, actually there's two. I have two extremely arrogant friends, but they are my best friends, right? They're both guys, in fact. And what I'm going to tell you is that these two people have a ton of trouble getting jobs and keeping them. So what I would do is I would ask either your parents, your best friend, or your spouse. Do it this way. Honey, am I arrogant? Or mom, am I arrogant? If they laugh at you, then you are. And what I want you to do is I want you to tone it back a little bit. And remember, because when you have this ego, it's not going to work. Okay, the other thing is desperate people.
Hey, Abby, we are losing you. Could you maybe turn your video off?
Absolutely. Yep.
Sometimes that
Okay.
helps. There we
Do you
go.
think that's better?
Yep, go for it.
Okay. All right. Next is I want you to discuss any active activities that you do if you are one of my senior friends in the room. You can decide if you're one of the senior friends in the room. This means that when you walk in an interview, if someone looks at you and can tell that you are look my age at all, don't worry about this. If you look your age, you got to worry about this. You got to talk about things that you do that are very active. For example, have you climbed Mount Everest, for example? I don't know, maybe some of you have. Have you swam the English Channel? Whatever you have done that's active, I want you to bring it up. But don't walk in the room and say, "Hi, I'm Abby and I swam the English Channel." No, do this. Just say, "You know, I was thinking about that question last week when I rode my bike around this lake," or something. Just use it in a sentence, this active activity that you do. And the reason is that when you are a senior friend in the room, we worry about your energy and your health. And this is your way of helping us with that. And then we'll know that if you climb Mount Everest, you're energetic and healthy. Okay. The next thing is your technology aptitude. As a senior person, you got to let us know that you understand technology. So one of the things that I used to teach people to do is to bring an iPad with them on the interview and to leave it on the desk of the interviewer. And this is what Leon did. So he gave me a testimonial, and it says, as an over 50 job seeker, I'm 2 for 2 in landing jobs after bringing an iPad with me on job interviews in the past year. I never even opened the iPad. I just had it with my portfolio during interviews. I'm an IT consultant. So we're not doing live interviews right now. I want you to think about things you can do to show them that you have technology skills when you are a senior friend. So anything, use the word iPad in a sentence. talk about your Fitbit, talk about something. Doing Zoom is definitely helping, right? Because if you can get on a Zoom call, we know you can do technology at least a little bit, but you got to talk about more technology because as you get older, we tend to delegate our technology projects, right? So you might as well tell them about what you know how to do. All right, let's talk about my Grandma Jean. This is my little story that everybody loves. This is Grandma Jean in the flowers. And every day she would go down to the ground floor of her building. This is Ocean Parkway in Brooklyn, if anybody has ever been there. And she would go down to the ground floor. She would cross Ocean Parkway. This is 7 lanes of traffic. And then she would walk another 3 blocks and she would get to her senior citizen center where she would feed the seniors lunch. Now, she got paid to do this from age approximately 70 or so to age 95. So, the reason I tell you this story is because if I were sitting in an interview chair and if I actually looked 70 years old, because there will be a day that that's going to happen, I would be talking about this. I would be talking about the fact that my grandmother worked until she was 95 years old. So I would say to them, you might be noticing that I'm not 20 years old, but I want you to know that my grandma Jean worked until she was 95 years old, and I'm not going to be retiring anytime soon. Because you guys, retiring equals quitting. So if you're sitting there in the chair with gray hair and you're interviewing with a 25-year-old recruiter, they're thinking to themselves, this guy is going to retire in 3 years. I'm going to have to do this all over again. I don't want to do that with my company. You got to talk to them about how you're not planning on retiring. Even if you are, you guys, you got to talk about not retiring. If you have gray hair, if you're sitting in that chair, why are you not retiring? Give them a story. Tell them about my grandma Jean. Borrow her if you want to. It's totally fine. Or maybe you have some other reason why you're not retiring. I'm not retiring because I have kids in college, whatever. Some story you got to tell them because that's going to be important. Okay, so here's another thing that you might think I'm crazy saying, but being called overqualified is actually a blessing in disguise. Now, the reason I say that is because most of the time no one tells you. And if they don't tell you, you go home and you get all excited about the job, and then you get the news that you didn't get the job, and it's because you were overqualified, but they didn't tell you. So what you can do is you can actually have the whole conversation about being overqualified before you walk out of the room. So being called overqualified is great because all you have to say is, I'm not overqualified. I'm absolutely qualified. And here's why, right? Just like we were talking about earlier. But if they don't talk to you about it, I really want you to talk about it anyway, because you got to overcome this objection about the health, the energy, the technology, the retirement. Got to overcome it because they're thinking it. They're not saying it. Got to overcome it anyway. So what you say is something like this. You can see I've worked at a higher level before, but this position is exactly what I'm looking for. And here's why. Okay. So I'm just going to give you an example, and then I'm going to show you some words that you can use. I had a candidate today on the phone. I'm trying to fill a position in Alabama for an HR associate, and he's been an HR manager for years. And I talked to him about it, and I said, why would you want to be an associate instead of a manager? We're going to need to know that for the hiring manager. And he said, because I don't necessarily need to manage people. I've been doing it for so many years, but at this point in my career, I love what I do. I love hands-on work, so I don't need to manage people. And that's fine. And that's a good reason. Here's a couple other here's whys. So this is same one here is I was proud to be a nurse manager, but I really miss working with patients as my main function. Had the big salary and a big title, but now I just want to make a difference. Right? So here's why for that. Same story. This person went to college, became a nurse, then became a nurse manager, but now just wants to go back and be a nurse. It's perfectly fine to do. And for me, I've been a senior director of recruiting at one point in my career, and I realized at one point that I don't want to manage people. I just want to be an individual contributor. And if that's the case, I can be a contract recruiter. So it's like multiple levels down, but I really love this job and this level. So some of you may have that as your here's why. And then some of you may talk about the budget, because when you apply for a job and you know that the salary is going to be way higher than, way lower than where you were at, you need to talk about why you can afford to take a pay cut. Reasons why you could afford to take a pay cut are: my kids are out of college, I don't own a house anymore, I won the lottery, I played the stock market and something, I received a pension. There's all kinds of reasons why. Oh, my spouse is the breadwinner. You have to give them the answer to why you're not going to run out the door when the headhunter calls you about another job paying more money. So you have to talk about these topics before you leave the door, before you leave the interview. Okay, and then this one is also interesting about wanting to work in a particular industry. So 2 years ago, I had the opportunity to interview with CBS, the TV station, and I've always wanted to work in the entertainment industry. And I had to convince them that I was willing to take a pay cut to do the contract recruiting job that they had for me, and that I wasn't going to run screaming out the door when I got another offer. And I told them the reason was because I really wanted to be in the entertainment industry. So I looked at the guy straight in the eyes and I said, Rich, I've always wanted to work for the entertainment industry, and CBS is my favorite station. Why would I leave you? And he gave me the job. This is what you have to do. You have to talk about why you're interested in the position. That is what's going to overcome your overqualified situation. So what I would do is, whether you're overqualified before you even go in. So therefore, memorize your here's why before the interview, and that way you'll be able to talk about it. And because you can't read this stuff, but you can memorize it and go in knowing what your here's why is before you go. Okay, now some of you may have a Brooklyn personality like I do, and if somebody says to you, you're overqualified, you might decide to say one of these things. If you are having open heart surgery, would you prefer a qualified surgeon or an overqualified one? Before you roll your eyes at me, I want you to think to yourself, is this true? I want you to think about somebody calling you and saying you have to have open heart surgery, and thinking to yourself, who are you going to call? Are you going to call a qualified surgeon, or are you going to call the most overqualified surgeon you can find? I'd call the overqualified one. How about this one? If you were a passenger on a plane, would you prefer a qualified pilot or an overqualified one like Captain Sully? Same thing. I would fly with Sully anytime. When you go to the beauty parlor, would you prefer a qualified hairstylist or an overqualified one? Same thing. I want the overqualified one. And last but not least, if you were a football player, would you prefer a qualified coach or an overqualified coach? You can come up with all kinds of these. But when you do deliver one of these lines, what you are going to have is some silence. And what I want you to know is that's completely normal. They're shocked that you said it. But then what's going to happen is, if you let them sit in the silence and you don't interrupt them, they're going to come back to you and say, you know what? You're totally right. I totally agree with this. And then you'll be able to move on. Okay. So next is a testimonial from Donna. She says, when I interviewed for a job, the hiring manager told me I was overqualified for the position. I said, why settle for Chevy when you can have a Mercedes-Benz? Need very little training and I can hit the ground running. That was on Friday afternoon. By Monday morning, my recruiter told me he decided to drive the Mercedes-Benz. So people have tried this stuff and it works. And then here's Pam. I went into a recent interview and noticed the hiring manager's office was covered with pictures of his Air Force tour of duty. At the end of the interview, he told me I was overqualified. I held my cool and said, when you're a passenger on a plane, do you prefer a qualified pilot or an overqualified one? I start on Monday. Yippee! So then I went to Mountain View, California, and I met John Delaney, and he said, Overqualified is a judgment a manager makes assuming everything is going to go according to plan with no surprises. The Captain Sullys are trained for surprises. He said this after I did my presentation. So I was like, John, can you come with me on the tour? That was amazing. And he said, no, but you can take my picture. So that's why his picture is there. Amazing, amazing sentence. And then there was this girl who lived in an RV, and she said this: it's impossible to be overqualified unless you believe you are overqualified. Your success with overcoming objections that you are overqualified absolutely starts by changing your mindset. And if you agree with that, I now pronounce you absolutely qualified. So before I go, I want to remind you of a couple of things. One, get the slides by emailing slides@absolutelyabby.com. Two, get the cover letter by emailing letter@absolutelyabby.com. And before I go again, I just want to mention this new website that I have that you might all really want to know about. It's called staffingsymphony.com. Please write this down, everybody. I'm going to leave it on the screen for a second so you can write it down. And then we can put it in the chat as well. I want to show you what's in that site. There are 1,300 headhunters in a network that I joined. I joined this network last year when I was unemployed due to COVID. And so now I am part of this network. There are 1,300 headhunters. It's growing by about 20 a week. And the number of jobs on the site as of yesterday was 2,364. And the number of jobs is growing by 50 to 100 every single week. And there are currently 38 jobs in Arizona and 114 remote jobs. You can see all the other states that I put up there. But if you just go to the site, you can set up alerts for yourself for any job title, for any location. There are some, I see there's 114 remote jobs that you can possibly apply for. And what happens is once you apply for the job, the resume goes to a headhunter, not to me, but to another headhunter. However, I will know that you applied and I will call the headhunter and push you through the door. So that's my job to help you. So you can definitely do that. You can also send a copy of your resume to me because I am trying to fill some of those positions on the site. And when I do, I'll be in touch with you. So you would email your resume to jobs@absolutelyabby.com. And when you do that, you'll know you did it right. There will be 3 things that bounce back. One of them is the cover letter template. The second one is a webinar called Winning the Hearts and Minds of Recruiters. And the last one is a 26-page job search resource guide. So those will all bounce back if you email your resume to this address. And now I'm officially done and ready to take questions about
Abby,
anything.
I have a question for you. So your audio went out a couple times, and one of those times was when you were talking about not being desperate. Would you mind telling us what that content was?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. So yes, I was saying that desperate people don't get jobs, passionate people get jobs. And so what you want to do is you want to talk about why you really, really want the job, but don't come across as someone who needs the job. It's about why you want it. So these here's whys that we talked about at the end are why you want the job. So you talk about why you love the industry, you love the company, you love the job, and you're not talking about I need a job because I can't pay my rent. It has to be why you want the specific job. So be passionate, not desperate.
Yeah, I just had a candidate the other day. And when I'm interviewing, I also ask, why are you interested in this job? But he even got through me and then also 2 hiring managers and still never gave a reason why he wanted the job for that company. It was all about him. And I thought, what she's saying, you guys, is so true. You've got to tell yourself the impact you're going to be making on that company and why you want to work there. So that's awesome. I don't have any other questions right now in the chat. But we did drop in all of the URLs that Abby mentioned through her talk. And again, if you email her slides at Absolutely Abby, you will get her slides. We don't send out slides, but you can get her slides by sending her that email. Anything else to Abby to finish this
Yeah,
out?
I was gonna say one more thing and I forgot what it was because you made some really good points right there. Um, I know what I was gonna say, you guys. So I told you I was speaking in opinions at the beginning. I hope most of you heard that part, that I was speaking 100% in opinions in the last hour. But I just want you to understand something. I am a current recruiter. So when I say I'm speaking in opinions, what I'm telling you is this stuff actually happens. People are told they're overqualified all the time. Hire managers come up to me and say, I don't want to talk to that person because they're overqualified. I try to convince them to do it anyway because I'm on your side, because I'm Absolutely Abby. So I'm always trying to convince hiring managers to interview people they don't want to interview, to just give you guys a chance. But if you can help us out by doing the things that I talked about on this webinar, it will really help us get you in the door. And definitely when I talked about this thing about you have to talk about your energy, your health, and all that, oh my God, I have some great examples of why you have to do that. This stuff really, really happens. Do I have 5 extra minutes to tell this story?
Yeah, you have 8 minutes actually.
All right, I'll make it an 8-minute story. No, I won't. No, I'm just going to tell a story because it is so, I'm going to see if I can remember it all because it happened 3 years ago. So I was working for a pharmaceutical company and we had someone come in. It was a temp. We had a temp come in and he was an older guy. I think he was like probably 70 years old. I actually don't know how old he was, but I think he was around that. Like he was definitely that 70 kind of area. And he looked that age too. And he came in for the interview and the team did not want to hire him. They found all kinds of reasons why we shouldn't hire him. And I called him up and I said, listen, I need you to tell me if you think he could do the job. Because if you can't give me a reason why we shouldn't hire him, we need to hire him and give him a chance. And then that's when they told me that he looked like somebody that could have a heart attack at any time. Like they actually said those words. He looks like he could drop dead, have a heart attack. And I was like, oh my God, I felt like saying, I need you to listen to my webinar. But that actually happened. So they gave him the chance because I made them do that. And he comes in and he starts temping with them. And he goes, so on the way there, he gets lost and he calls them up. He doesn't have a GPS in the car. He didn't have a GPS on his phone. So he was looking at maps like the olden days. So that proved that he didn't have technology. And then during the day, he went out to his car during lunch and fell asleep and didn't come back for like a couple of hours. So you guys, it's stuff like this that makes people not want to hire people that are 70 years old because they've had an experience like this. So what I want you to do is I really want you to like listen to this webinar and like really take this to heart. You got to talk about your energy. You got to talk about your health. You got to talk about your technology. Got to talk, and not retiring. Got to talk about all of those things during the interview. That is all. Wasn't that a great story?
Yeah.
It's such a real life story.
Yes, I know. Some of the hiring managers, I'm like, what? Don't ever say that again.
I know I've had people tell me, I don't want to say this, but I really want a woman. And I'm like, oh my God, you cannot tell me that.
I know the horror stories, all these, everyone who's ever done recruiting or in HR, the horror stories we have.
Oh my God. I just realized something else. Oh my God. So I'm doing contract recruiting for a client right now with that's opening a new lab in Phoenix. And I'm trying to fill a position in Phoenix right now for three people, 1 formulation person and 2 HPLC research associates, scientists. I know probably none of you are those people because a lot of those people have jobs and they're very hard to find. But just in case you happen to know somebody that has these skills, like you're a formulation pharmaceutical scientist that lives in Phoenix and wants to work in a new lab, that's a really cool company, please get in touch with me. Please get in touch, find me on LinkedIn, do something, and hook me up with those people. That would be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Abby. There's a lot of ways you guys can get in contact with her, but the different email addresses then send you the information that you want. So we have all those links in the chat. If you're not in the chat, open that up and you will see all the links in there for you guys to get a hold of Abby. Thank you so much for being here, Abby. We really appreciate
You're
every time
welcome.
you speak, and the content is awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have a great rest of the time, guys. I'm going back to recruiting.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Abby.
Bye.
All right, so Abby won't be in our breakouts, but if you need to get in contact with her, she gave you all of her different ways to connect with her. All right, we wanted to introduce you all to Gian Boldy. Gian has been with Career Connectors since, I believe, 2010. He is one of our longest running volunteers, but he also is with LPL Financial. And after graduating from ASU with a degree in business management and a certificate in entrepreneurship, Gian Boldy began his career in personal finance. The field gave him an opportunity to do what he loves, helping people, while also using his financial skills. In addition to his degree, Gian also has a certificate in personal finance planning from UCLA, which he received with distinction. And then for years 2013 to 2018, he has been awarded with the 5-star Financial Professional Award and also included in the September issue of Phoenix Magazine. When he's not working as a financial advisor, he's very active in the community. Like I said, he's been volunteering with us for many years. He is also serving on our Career Connectors board as the treasurer. He is also the member of the Chandler's Lions Club and a volunteer with Fresh Start Women's Foundation. And in his spare time, he loves spending time with his wife, Jennifer, their 3 chihuahuas, Barkley, Figgy, and Fumble, and their 2 sons, Scott and Grayson. Please help me welcome Gian Boldy.
Thank you, Jessica. Thanks for having me. Like Jessica said, I've been volunteering with Career Connectors since 2010, so it's been a bit. And so this is an organization that's very near and dear to my heart. So you guys, if you're ever looking for a job, you guys are absolutely in the right place. The only down part about Career Connectors and speaking at Career Connectors is I'm not a professional speaker, and I always have to follow somebody like Abby, who has been all around the country. But the good thing is I always learn something new. What I learned today from Abby is that I'm 37, so she said at 36 you're overqualified, so I'm overqualified by a year. I also have a Yahoo email for my personal email, and I double space after periods. So I knew I was an old soul, I think, but she confirmed it. She also mentioned that she enjoys the Zooms because she doesn't have to do that travel around the country. I really have enjoyed seeing all the people from all over the place, from the East Coast. I think we saw Miami, Milwaukee, all over the place. So that's pretty cool that we get to see those different people popping up that don't get to be here in person. One other thing I like to do, or I enjoy about these virtual settings, it's not perfect, but I do enjoy that I get to kind of pretend that like I'm a news reporter. So I've got the suit up top, but if you got, I'll even show you, I can wear the gym shorts down low. So I don't know if anybody's done that before, Jessica, but so there are some pros. But anyway, I'm going to give you some tips for your finances during Career Connectors, or excuse me, during your career transition. And we'll go through them. If you have any questions, you can type them in the chat box, and I'll try and answer them if I have time. If not, then I will be here for the breakouts at least until about 11:30. So if you could advance to the next slide, Sheila, I'll start with tip number 1. So tip number 1 is understand your unemployment benefits. I'm by no means an expert in unemployment, but when I do have questions, I go to www.azdes.gov. I guess that's if you're in Arizona. Now we have people that are not in Arizona. On the DES website, you can apply for unemployment. You can appeal a decision for unemployment if you feel you should have gotten unemployment and you didn't. I've definitely seen people that I thought would get it and didn't get it, and vice versa, that I thought wouldn't get it and did get it. So definitely apply. The other thing is, don't wait to apply for unemployment. Example, this was quite a while ago now, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. I had a client who lost his job, and he had always found another job quickly. So he said he wasn't going to apply right away, despite me encouraging him to. A month later, he didn't have a job. 2 months passed, 3 months passed, 4 months passed. Finally, he applied for unemployment, and then about a week later, he got a job. So he missed out on a few months worth of unemployment that he rightfully deserved. You guys pay the taxes for that insurance, so when you are eligible, please apply right away. I will say that Arizona's unemployment rate is less than, I believe, 48 other states. So if you are in another state and you do move to Arizona, please apply in that state that you previously worked in. Sheila, could you advance to the next slide, please? Tip number 2, don't forget to keep paying taxes. So just because you're on unemployment doesn't mean that you don't owe taxes on that unemployment. So if you're not having taxes withheld from that unemployment, just be aware. Nobody likes getting surprised come tax day the next year that you have not paid your taxes, or you have not paid enough and you have to pay and you're not expecting to. So just be aware of that. Next slide, please. There are certain job hunting expenses that you can deduct. So there might not be as many in a virtual world. So things typically like mileage to and from an interview would be able to be deducted. Things like if anybody prints paper resumes anymore, so if you printed a resume on cardstock, something like that. One thing that is valid, and definitely valid in this meeting, if anybody out there is willing to relocate for a position. So if you get a new position that's more than 50 miles away and you are in the same industry, you can deduct those moving expenses, and moving expenses can be pretty costly. So just keep aware of those things. I've yet to meet the person that says they want to pay more in taxes than they deserve. Maybe the first one is in this meeting, but I doubt it. So just be aware there are certain job hunting expenses that you can deduct. Next page. Go back to school, advance your skills, learn something new. So we all get the question in an interview, what have you been doing while you've been unemployed, or what, other than looking for a job, what have you been doing? Well, to me, what better way to answer that than saying I've been, taking this class or doing whatever it is to advance my skills and to become a better candidate for this job. So it could be getting a Microsoft Office certification or project management certification, whatever it is, making sure you're using this time to hone some skills if you can. Next page. Become underemployed. This is not necessarily something you do right away. And it kind of goes back into the overqualified thing that Abby talked about. So sometimes I've had people that I know, clients that have changed industries altogether. I have had people that have, another thing that's very viable is taking a stepping stone job. So if you have a target company and you want to be an HR director, maybe you take a job as an HR manager and work your way into that position. So this is something that's not necessarily you do day one, but sometimes, you got to do what you got to do, and considering some other positions might be valid from time to time. Next page. Okay, so this is my favorite tip because it's something everybody can do, regardless of what your situation is, and that's budget, budget, budget. So we've all heard the saying, a penny saved is a penny earned. That's never more true than when you don't have the money coming in that you're used to. I get asked the question a lot, especially when people don't have that money coming in that they're used to, where should they reduce their expenses? I can't really answer that for anyone because I don't know what's important to you, what's more important, what's less important. And the first step of you deciding what's more important and what's less important and what you can more afford to reduce is having a written budget. So if you don't know where every dollar is going, you can't make an educated decision on what you feel you can live without or you can reduce. So get a written budget. If you're just getting started on that, I'd recommend if you pay everything out of the same account, that's the easiest. So you can go back and look at a couple months of account history and say, okay, where did it all go? Then you can categorize it. I personally just use an Excel spreadsheet. Keep a column for what you budget and then keep a column for what you actually spend, so you know if it's matching up at the end of the month. And if you guys want, if you want to email me, I'll have my email at the last slide. I can send you a budgeting template if you like. Next slide. So the first 6 tips were pretty easy to implement. The next 3 are a little bit more technical. So typically, if we had more interaction in person, I would say, how many people know when you could typically take money out of an IRA or most retirement accounts without paying a 10% penalty? Well, typically it's 59.5. But like most IRS rules, there's an exception to that. And that's rule 72T, or what they call substantially equal distributions. So if you are between 55 and 59.5, and you agree to take out the same amount of money for 5 years and until you reach 59.5, you can take that money out without paying a 10% penalty. Again, this has to be an IRA, not a 401k or other type of retirement plan. And you do still have to pay taxes. So there's no getting around the taxes, but that's to not pay the 10% penalty, which over a 5-year period could be pretty substantial. Next slide. So tip number 8, you can use funds from your IRA to purchase health insurance without paying a 10% penalty. So we all have the moment where, you know, we get our first COBRA bill and we have the sticker shock of, wow, you know, health insurance is very expensive. It's also, especially for, you know, for most people, very important. So if you feel like, you know, that's something you need and you need to, you know, come up with a lot of money for COBRA, you can take money out of an IRA. Now, the stipulation with that is, I believe you have to be on unemployment for 12 weeks first. And again, it has to be an IRA or not another type of retirement account. Next slide, please. So you can reverse a contribution you made to an IRA. So let's say I maxed out my IRA today, put, you know, $6,000, $7,000, depending on your age, and tomorrow I'm unemployed. You can reverse that contribution within the same year. And then if you get, you know, you use that for your living expenses or to have a bigger cushion. And then when you get employed, you have, you can put the money back in if you so choose. Now, like I said, those last three are a little bit more technical to implement. So if you want to talk more about your situation, you think one of those might work for you, I'll be here for the breakouts, or you can call me with my contact information a couple slides from now. Last one, I saved this for last because it's both the easiest thing to do and the most difficult thing to do, depending on how you look at it, and that's ask for help. So we all have points in our life where we can use a helping hand. I know I have. That doesn't necessarily mean financial help. It could be asking a friend to just listen to you vent, or, you know, someone to do some mock interviews with you. It could be asking for, you know, at a Career Connectors event, asking a resume writer for their opinion, or a LinkedIn coach, or myself for financial help. So ask for your help. There are definitely, certainly with Career Connectors, there are definitely people here that want to help you. So that's all for my 10 tips. I think my contact information is on the next slide. So that's how you can get a hold of me. That's my phone number, my email. I have an app if you prefer to contact me through that. So if you type in Boldy Financial in the App Store, you can find that. And do I have a minute for questions, Jessica?
Yep.
Yes, usually at the in-person event, I keep track of time, so I know, but now I'm not in charge of the time anymore with this. I see one question in there. Do these rules apply to Roth IRA accounts? Roth IRA accounts are a little bit different. And you have actually more flexibility with Roth. So you can, after a contribution has been in a Roth for 5 years, you can take it out without penalty and without taxes, because the whole reason there are more restrictions on an IRA, traditional IRA, is because you've never paid taxes. Same reason why it's 70, used to be 70.5, now 72. They have required minimum distributions. They're saying, take the money out so we can collect the tax revenue. Roth, they've already collected the tax revenue. So they give you more leniency on taking the money out. Now the gains are different in terms of, you know, taking that portion out, but yeah, you do have more flexibility with Roth. So Robin, if you want to talk more specifically about your situation, I could, you know, give you some more tips about how you go about implementing that. Any other questions?
All right. I don't see any right now.
All right.
Gian,
Thanks, Jessica.
thank you so much. Gian, you'll be around for the breakout sessions as well.
Yeah, I'll be here. I have to leave at 11:30, so I'll be here until 11:30.
So Gian has been wonderful. He helps me and my family with all of our stuff, and he answers questions from my college student that was just starting to our family. So if you have any questions for him, he is wonderful, and I encourage you to chat with him. Thank you so much, Gian. All right, I would like to introduce you all to Robie Rankins. He has been with Republic Services for 3 years as a talent acquisition partner for the Chandler, Arizona Customer Resource Center. He's a U.S. Navy veteran with a passion for service and the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is really hard for me because I'm a Browns fan, but welcome anyway. We're glad you're here.
Good morning, and thank you all for having me. Again, my name is Robie. I am a talent acquisition partner located here in Chandler, Arizona with Republic Services, and I currently support our Chandler Customer Resource Center. A few things about Republic Services for those of you that don't know who we are. We are a Fortune 300 company. We currently service customers in 40 states. We have well over 36,000 employees, and we are one of the more sustainable companies here in the United States, as we generate over 10 billion, that's with a B, $10 billion per year in annual revenue. We're an industry leader in the solid waste and recycling industry, and we're always looking for great individuals to join our team. So, next slide, please. So, some of the more recent recognition that Republic Services has received, and these are just a few. We were voted, and we are still one of the world's most ethical companies. We're still America's best large employers. Some of the other accolades that we've received, we are certified best places to work. We are also one of the better employers for women. And I know some of you that, when you think of solid waste and recycling, the thing that first comes to mind are the trucks, the trucks that come by. Well, just so that you all are aware, Republic Services, we are more than just a company that drives around and and collects trash. So I encourage you to all take a look at our website. Again, we service customers and have opportunities in well over 40 states currently. Thank you. You can move on to the next slide. Just some of our values, and I'm really proud of this. So, if you've seen our dumpsters or if you've seen our trucks driving around, you'll notice our logo, and we refer to this as the star. Respectful, responsible, reliable, resourceful, relentless. These are things that I value highly, and my colleagues do also. We're really looking for individuals that will embody, our values, because this is what means the most to us. That way we can translate these into the servicing of our customers. Go ahead. Our purpose: to create value for all of our employees, our customers, our communities, a planet, our shareholders. Our vision is to be America's most preferred recycling and waste services partner. So I can tell you, here at Republic Services, we tend to say that we work for Earth. We are very, very, very much passionate about this planet and doing all that we can. And just know, trash doesn't stop. So as an essential business, trash does not stop. So as we all inhabit this earth, just keep it in mind, we're all going to continue to generate trash, and there will always be a need for our service. We do turn waste into renewable energy and power, and in this day and age, I think that is remarkable. Okay, so who we're seeking? We're seeking individuals that are passionate about customer service and sales. And the reason that I'm going to focus on customer service and sales during this event is due to the recent demand for those positions. Now, during the breakout period, I can also engage with you with regards to other opportunities. But just know for the purpose of this this seminar, we will be discussing customer service and sales. So we're looking for people with high energy, folks that are friendly and engaging. I think we have enough Browns fans in the site for right now. So we'll take anyone outside of the AFC North for sure. No, just I had to get that one in there, Jessica. So excellent customer service. Actively looking for ways to help people. We want those individuals that have those self-motivation skills, especially now that we're all working remotely due to COVID. So you have to be self-motivated. Maintaining a feeling of pride in work, has a strong work ethic, and strives to achieve all goals. Some of the minimum requirements for any position within our organization: high school diploma or GED required. I love that, Carol. Thank you. Your husband's a Steeler fan. I love it. And bilingual English and Spanish is a plus. Now, as you're looking at our job postings online, and I get this question quite often, you will see bilingual as one of the minimum requirements. Just know that that is a plus. So you don't have to be bilingual for any position here with the Republic Services that we're currently hiring for. So the two positions that I'd like to focus on at this point in time are our customer service representatives. These are all work from home positions, and just know that Republic Services will provide the hardware for you. So you don't need to purchase any of your own equipment. We're going to provide that for you. The only thing that you would need is your own internet connection at home. So we're actively hiring for customer service representatives. I have an upcoming class scheduled for June 21st. I've actually had three classes this month, and we will be continuing to hire throughout the remainder of the year. So our CSR positions start at $16 per hour and $17 for certified bilingual. We will certify you on our end. We are also hiring for inside sales representatives. This class is scheduled to start on July 12th. That is the most recent, and there will be ongoing classes. This position will start at $18.75 per hour, $19.75 for certified bilingual, and this position comes with a monthly bonus. Now, the cap of this particular bonus it caps out at $250, and just know there's a reason for that. These two positions are what we at Republic Services consider to be our tiered agent program. So what that means is these are great entry points into the organization. Starting in these two roles they can eventually propel you into any department that you'd like to go. One of the main things that I love about our company is the effort that we put forth in developing and growing our current employees. We want you to grow. We will not push you out of the chair too fast, but unlike some companies, we will never hold you back. And what I mean by that is here at Republic Services, you only need to be employed or in a position for a period of 6 months before you then become eligible to apply and be considered for any position within the organization, as long as you meet those minimum qualifications. The best way to apply is to go to our website, which is www.republicservices.jobs, and you can use a keyword search, as well as you can select by state. I encourage you all to take a look at who we are if you haven't done so already, and what we have to offer, because there are a plethora of opportunities, and we want great people like yourselves. I will be available for breakout, but for those of you that would like to reach out to me directly, you can contact me at 480-842-5717. That is my direct line. My email address is r.rankins, so my first initial last name at republicservices.com. And just know that if you call me or you email me, I assure you I will follow up with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I love to hear that you guys have entry points and career pathways from them. So thank you so much, Robie. We appreciate you being here today.
Hey, thank you guys for having me. Go Steelers. And go.
I don't know if you're getting invited back, but no, I'm kidding. All right, we're going to move over
Maybe
to.
we can talk playoff time.
That's right. I'd like to introduce you all to Robin Ersland. She is with Honor Health, and she has over 20 years HR healthcare professional experience, and she is dedicated to helping those find their dream careers at Honor Health. Seeking and delivering the latest best practices in healthcare recruitment campaigns and coordinating successful virtual career events and networking with our incredible community fuels her passion. Robin is a proud Phoenix resident since '89, an ASU alum, and enjoys her free time at her Twins flag football games. She loves outdoor exploring and can't wait to travel to new destinations soon. Robin, I'm with you. Welcome. Thank you for being here today.
All right, thank you all for having me today. I look forward to speaking with you, learning a little bit more about each of you, and helping you kind of navigate if Honor Health may be a potential employer of choice for yourselves. All righty, so I'll make sure that over in the chat that I've got my email address on here, and therefore we can have some side conversations, and hopefully maybe if some of you are able to hang out to do the breakout rooms too, I will be there as well. All right, so Jessica Lovely said that yes, I am with the Honor Health team. Been a proud employee with Honor Health, oh gosh, maybe about 23 years or so now. So some of you in the Valley may be familiar with, at the time, back when it was Scottsdale Healthcare, and then John C. Lincoln formed together for us to become Honor Health together. All righty, so working through information about Honor Health. Some of you certainly may be familiar that we are a large healthcare organization here in the Valley. We currently now have 6 hospitals. So the 6th hospital was, our grand opening for that was just last September. So even during the middle of the pandemic, we successfully opened our 6th hospital. That's the one that's off of I-17 and Carefree Highway in North Phoenix. It's called Sonoran Crossing Medical Center. So that's our latest one. And some of you may be familiar with and have seen out in the Valley that we're certainly expanding also like our urgent care, location. So some of you may see that. We also have entered a partnership with FastMed for urgent care locations. So we're doing our best to keep up with the healthcare community needs, kind of stretching, all the way far as, East Mesa, and then certainly kind of up in the North Peoria, area, kind of a little bit more on the west end of town as well. At honorhealth.com, you can certainly find some awesome information too about our organization, a little bit more specifically about our culture, our mission, our visions, our eye care values that we hold deeply, that certainly we have, really kind of, it's been a challenge for the last year for certainly for our healthcare workers, but they've really stepped up and been able to truly live, these values as they kind of had to care for individuals in kind of unprecedented, circumstances as well. All righty, so here's just a little bit about locations. I know I spoke a little bit on that, but I just wanted everybody to kind of really, see a little bit more how much we are expanding in the Valley, which means there are career opportunities at these locations. And of course, it's going to vary a little bit about the nature of the positions at each one of the sites, but certainly there's lots of different opportunities, whether if it's more in the clinical setting or if it's maybe more in the non-clinical setting that, many of you today may be kind of looking for as well. And thank you, Sheila. I see you just posted our honorhealth.com and the jobs website for me. Thank you. All righty. So a little bit about Honor Health benefits. As you can imagine, as a healthcare organization, one of the definitely benefits that comes along with working with a healthcare employer is some awesome benefits for yourself, as well as also caring for your family. It's kind of the total, overall perspective of what does one need possibly, and what can employer support you with as well. So our benefits range anywhere to even just discounted, and some positions even like free bus passes, pet insurance, discounts, all the way up through the more traditional benefits, which obviously is your health, dental, vision, life. We do have a 403B retirement savings plan. It does work just as a 401k, but Honor Health is a nonprofit organization, so therefore we have a 403B. We've got some awesome tuition assistance. So, come work for Honor Health for a minimum of 6 months in a full-time or part-time position. And you would be eligible at that point to kind of tap into using the $5,250 each calendar year for tuition assistance. So therefore, it could be in the form of reimbursement or even upfront. So different types of schooling programs kind of qualify you for different types of, whether if it's upfront or reimbursement. So we have a nice flexible tuition assistance plan, and also the continuing education. So some of us may a little bit more professionally, whether if it's, clinical or maybe not so much clinical, but certainly it supports the, needs for our employee population. We certainly kind of take that into consideration for all of our full-time and part-time staff as well. So we've got some child care centers at our Shea campus and the John C. Lincoln Finnis campuses as well. So we'd love to be able to offer that to kind of help, our employees who have, younger children, for as far as, child care centers. That's obviously another great, wonderful, perk of working with HonorHealth with us. All right, and there is some information about COVID for those of you that, certainly like to learn a little bit about that. We've got a lot of great information, on our website, whether if it's honorhealth.com. That is the majority of all the information. HonorHealthJobs.com has a little bit more of just kind of the blip of information that kind of is right here in this last bullet point. And for you, all to know, right now, the way it stands, we're still kind of conducting most of our interviews more virtually. And most of those are probably phone interviews, and some of them may be video interviews for folks who could be out of town or depending upon the nature of the position. But we are beginning to slightly easily introduce some more in-person interviews, either at our campus locations, and they may be a little bit more in the, general areas, the cafes or something of that nature, in order to just still be a little cautious, within the care units there. But just for you guys to have an update of what that looks like from an interviewing potential standpoint. All right, so here with us at HonorHealth, you can certainly access, Sheila listed the honorhealth.com/jobs. That's certainly, one way to kind of navigate to our career site, or you can head directly over to honorhealthjobs.com. Either one will certainly kind of bring you to our nice homepage. And this is where all of our career opportunities, live. Currently at this time, I think we have probably approaching within the whole network, probably around 800 to 1,000 jobs right now that are posted. And I know that's a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities. A lot of that is based upon growth and expansion, new programs that they're adding with even like our NOAA community resources, and also expanding like our home health nursing division, as well as also still some of the need and a little bit of catch up that we are hiring on from some of the areas that we had to make some staffing adjustments, let's say, due to, COVID last year. So there's some other resources and areas that are kind of picking back up, and we're hiring and gearing back up in other areas to be able to provide additional resources, as well as also our new medical group locations. So therefore, there's a lot of growth that's within there. And then obviously some folks are, just natural attrition. So that's why there's so many jobs there, but it's an awesome opportunity for all of you. And as of right now, I'm seeing a lot of our jobs being kind of, I'd almost want to say I think it was about 65% of them were clinical, and the rest, what is that, 35%? Those are a little bit more of the areas of the needs that are non-clinical roles. So that could be your finance areas, it could be your customer service, navigation areas, it could be areas that are a little bit more your non-traditional areas, but certainly really needed within our healthcare system. So it could be IT, support. So one way to kind of dial in with us is you're welcome to join our talent community as well. Each one of the, at the bottom of the pages on all of our career site pages, there's a link to join our talent community. And if you join the talent community, I'll keep you updated on HonorHealth updates, company happenings. We have monthly newsletters. I'll also send you some invites to our career events that are coming up, just as ways to keep yourself or maybe others, within your network kind of updated if they may be job seeking. Currently right now, we're running our virtual career events. A lot of those you can certainly find on our Facebook page in the events, and we're HonorHealth Jobs on Facebook. You can certainly take a peek at those. And if you want to join us, you are more than welcome to register with us, and I'll dial in with you for those. We will begin having some in-person hiring events, but it'll be probably a little bit more selected. And therefore I'll keep everything posted on our HonorHealth on the Facebook events page for us. Okay, so some of the career opportunities I'd like to highlight, here with us is I wanted to give you an idea a little bit about some of the roles that are obviously clinical based, but then also maybe clinical based. So therefore, currently right now, we do have some opportunities within our supply chain and logistics areas. We do have, practice managers within the medical group setting. So if a little bit more of the physician practice, setting is something you're interested in, we have those that are available. Even revenue cycle coordinators, web specialists, security, also food service, EDS, it's all employed here with us at HonorHealth. So you kind of think of us as like a city of about approaching 13,000 employees now. So there's a lot of different types of roles that go along with that. And then of course, also on our little bit more of the healthcare or the clinical setting, we've got some growth in some new areas we've added on, for instance, like a pharmacy retail, center, and some also specialty pharmacists, which has created new opportunities in the areas. Also our labs, expanding some services there, and a behavioral health counselor. So HonorHealth is getting into a little bit more of the behavioral, health, and a little bit more of the mental health care, setting. So we've got some new opportunities. A lot of them could be within our NOAA, health clinics, which NOAA is a great partner with us, and they take a little bit more care, more specifically at their 9 sites that are without the valley that kind of help individuals on a whole variety spectrum of care. And they're kind of expanding their behavioral, health services there with us. So if you would like to head over to honorhealthjobs.com, you can certainly kind of do a quick keyword search, these jobs that I've listed here, if any of them find appealing to you, but you can also search basically by categories. You can look at professional, look at allied, you can look at management, opportunities as well. All right, and just a little blip about kind of what you could expect if you do decide to apply to a position with us. Down here, I just kind of took a highlight a little bit of our candidate experience that you could look forward to kind of in that flow from an interviewing, starting application through an interviewing to an offer stage, with us. Contact information. And you're welcome to reach out to me. I invite you to email me if you want to call me or connect on LinkedIn. We, certainly can. And therefore, we may want to have some discussions about what type of role you may be interested in looking for, or if you just like to learn a little bit more about HonorHealth, or if you have other folks within your network that may be job searching, I'd be, certainly kind of happy to help them and dial in with them.
Robin, thank you so much. Oh.
Yeah, I think that's it. I'm happy to take any questions that you guys may have, and maybe I'll meet some of you over in the breakout too. So thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. All right, Robin will be around at the end in a few minutes. And now I'd like to introduce you guys all to Anna Brambilla. And we have partnered with her because she has a different type of opportunity available for you guys. And so one of the things, especially in 2020 and 2021, people have said, I'm transitioning out of my job and I wanted some different kind of opportunities. And so she has more than 20 years of experience in the field of career transition. She's been a career coach, a recruiter, outplacement consultant, and relocation expert. And prior to that, she worked in corporate finance and software project management. She holds an MBA in finance and management from the University of San Francisco and a BA in management and economics from Simmons College in Boston. But in 2017, she was looking for a different path, and she happened to attend a workshop on franchise options and immediately liked the concept of franchising. She bought her own franchise license with the Entrepreneur's Source and has been helping professionals discover options outside the traditional career path since then. Throughout her career, she has been focused on helping people get the job and life they loved. And one of her favorite things to do is to be a matchmaker between people and resources. She leaves the romantic matchmaking to the professionals, but she loves giving people ideas, suggestions, resources, and hope as they navigate a confusing and frustrating situation. Anna is an excellent listener, coach, and facilitator, a career ownership coach. She works hard to really understand her clients. Since becoming a franchise owner in 2017, she's helped hundreds of clients explore their franchising options in a safe, fun, and educational environment. Most of them actually never become franchise owners. However, all of them did learn about the options and possibilities. Please help me. I think I was saying your name wrong. Anna Schulman.
No, you got it right the first time.
Okay, Anna.
It's actually Anna. Yeah.
I have a couple Annas. So Anna, you're just a joy. I've loved every one of our conversations. I loved our interview we did. We are so glad you're here. So welcome, Anna.
Thank you so much, Jessica. I'm so thrilled to be here. I am just in awe of career connectors And what Jessica and Sheila have created, it's just an incredible organization. And I'm just so honored and happy to be with you guys. So I am missing the slide for advancing the slide. So Sheila, if you don't mind advancing my slide or giving me permission. There we go. Thank you. Now I see it. Great. So a lot of people don't even consider franchising, and they think that it's going to be only McDonald's and Subways and things like that. And certainly those franchises are fine. They're not in our portfolio. We have a couple hundred franchising opportunities and some small business, turnkey businesses. And what I like about franchising, I'll go into a little bit more depth a little bit later, but one of the things that I like most about franchising is the sense that you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. So I own my franchise. I run it the way I want to. I get to do how I want to do it. And I have the full support of the people at the franchise headquarters that get to do all the things that I don't want to do, such as the financial, the legal, the strategic planning, the marketing. All of that stuff is done for me, which is a really neat option. And I'll talk about investment levels a little bit later on. Next slide, please. So a couple of things about franchising. It's a proven business system. Most of you, if not all of you, are in some sort of career transition. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. And you have lots of options. Somebody mentioned education. Great, love education. Come from a long family of educators. That's great, but it takes a lot of time and a good investment. You can go back to the corporate world, and the majority of my clients go back to the corporate world, and that's wonderful if that's what's best for you. However, if I were in person, I'd ask how many of you have been laid off. And whenever I ask that question, I get a very large percentage of the attendees who have been laid off. And sometimes it was known, sometimes it's not. When I was in outplacement, I used to go to companies and they just lost their jobs, and it was so frustrating for them. With a franchise, it's a proven business model. It can be done again and again. To become a franchise, it takes sometimes upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars and several years of proven profitability. It's a recipe that's been tested again and again and again. It's also a win-win business relationship. My franchisor, the entrepreneur source, has every benefit, has every incentive to make me personally and my colleagues more successful. And that's such a huge thing. They want me to succeed. If you start your own business, of course, the risks are astronomical, and you can read the statistics elsewhere. But with a franchise, it's a proven business system, and they want you to succeed. If you own your own company or start your own business, you're lucky if the competition ignores you. You're lucky if that happens. More often than not, they're out to get you. Where the franchise, you've got that support. Depends on the franchise. You could have an exclusive territory. My franchise in particular, I work with clients and candidates all across the country. So next slide, please. So what people like about franchising, Abby said earlier, be the captain of your own career, and I loved that. And so franchising allows you to be the captain of your own career. It's already done for you. The prep work is already done for you. They've given you the materials for making the boat. They'll teach you how to make the boat, teach you how to row, and then you get to do the rowing. It's really great. You're also part of a larger ecosystem of franchisees. So I have contact and conversations with my colleagues all the time. How do you handle this situation? What do you recommend to hear? What have you done in these past situations? It's fantastic. And again, it's an established brand and a proven business. Next slide, please. A couple of myths I'd like to dispel. Next slide, please. that you can see that there's all kinds of different franchises and a huge variety of options. Yes, Brent, I would say that food does make up about 20% of a little bit more than that actually, worldwide for all the different franchises. In our particular portfolio of a couple of hundred franchises, only 4% have anything to do with food. Nothing completely different. I think everything completely different. Home improvement, home restoration, fitness, kids, seniors, business services, consulting, training, huge variety. Next slide, please. Finding the right business will make me successful. A dirty little secret about franchising is that if you have the right skills, the right attitude, and follow the system, whatever the franchise model is, your chances for success are huge. So that being said, sometimes finding the specific franchise is doing something you love. Absolutely, that's true. That does help. But when you work with me, we focus on what your end goals are and what do you want your daily life to look like. In which case, then the industry becomes irrelevant. It's kind of funny how that works. And I've had client after client say, I definitely don't want something in this particular field or this particular industry, and they end up in exactly that. I know the right opportunity when I see it. I see this again and again and again, and I love this one. I had a client last year. I worked with him to the point where I got to present models to him. And he got on the phone after I present models. I talk to my clients once a week. And he said to me on the second call, he says, Anna, I hated those models that you presented to me. I was really angry with you. I thought you hadn't listened to me. I thought you hadn't done your homework and you just presented 3 random things and I hated them, he said. But I promised you I'd have one conversation with each of the franchises. And I did. Sure, one of them wasn't a fit, and that's totally fine. But the other 2 are fantastic. He was completely surprised, had no idea that they would be a good fit for him. And sure enough, he has started one of those franchises that he absolutely hated in the beginning and is doing fantastically well. So I can't be in the X business. I don't know anything about it. That is actually preferable. The franchisors that I work with want the intangible skills. They want the leadership. They want the experience. Since you're all here talking about being a seasoned job seeker, I'll tell you something. Franchises are reverse ageism. I have a very hard time placing somebody in their 30s. Especially their 20s. The 30s, it has to be the right person. They want the people in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s, even their 70s. They want people like us who have gray hair. They want people like us who have been through the process and know what it's like. That's what they're looking for. They'll teach you the specifics about the franchise. Corporate headquarters will dictate everything. I won't have any flexibility. That's not true. And I can't be creative in a franchise. That's also not true. Indeed, there are restrictions. There are certain things. When I bought my franchise, one of the things that I liked is that they talked about an 8-lane highway with bumpers. So within that 8-lane highway, I have tremendous flexibility. It's my business. I chose, and I'm so grateful to be able to sponsor the Career Connectors, for example. That's huge for me. I love being able to take my nights and my weekends off. That was mandatory for me. My son is growing up and I'd like to see him and I'd like to stay married to my husband. That's my choice. How I spend my money, how I spend my time, that is completely on me. I do have parameters, which are great. It helps me stay within the boxes, which is great. And a franchise, this is a huge misconception about franchising. Most people think of franchising and they think of McDonald's and Subway, where you need minimum $2 to $3 million cash on hand. And in reality, the franchises in our system cost 5 to 10% of that. The majority of our franchises are in the 100,000 to 200,000. We have several that are below 100,000. I'm not nothing. I'm completely aware that not very many people have a couple $100,000 in their back pocket, but funding is very readily available. I can get both people funded on a franchise. And part of the discovery process that I take you through is finding out when and how can you get your money back and make it a successful enterprise. Next slide, please. So this goes into a little bit more detail. I will add, in fact, I can add it right now, my contact information. And I can send you a copy of the slides if you'd like to know a little bit more. Again, I don't know anything about the X business. I don't know a blankety blank about X. In reality, you don't have to. They will tell you how to do it, and they will help you hire the people who could do it. Next slide, please. And again, more details. I have again put my contact information in the chat, so hopefully everybody can see that. Again, remember, it's a proven business model, and you're not doing it by yourself. Next slide, please. So shift your mindset. Think of outside the box. I loved what Abby was talking about, how you reform and reformat how you're approaching yourself and how you're presenting yourself, and approaching your job search. Do the same thing with franchising. One of the things that I love is that I provide a safe zone. You can see the sign behind me. I provide a safe zone to allow you to explore. There is never any cost there's never any cost. There's never any commitment. There's nothing that you have to do except keep an open mind and be willing to explore. That's all. I just provide options. As Jessica said in my introduction, there's the majority of my clients don't end up in a franchise, but every single one of them learned something. And that's what my process is about, and that's what my passion is about. Next slide, please. Thank you. Again, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. That's such a crucial connection and crucial thought. I've never seen anything quite like that. I have tried starting my own business, and it was great, but as my business owner, I was taking care of everything. I had to take care of all of the different aspects of running a business. And whereas when I was a consultant, only half of my time was spent doing the consulting. The other half was spent doing all of the other things that an entrepreneur needs to do. Whereas a franchise, they'll do it for you. I've put in there a link to my LinkedIn profile. And a dirty little secret about my LinkedIn profile, I'm going to share you some information. If you'll see on there that I am a prolific poster. I post great articles, and I'll tell you that I have nothing to do with that. It makes me look great, but my franchise headquarters will put that into the system, write the articles and post it, and makes me look like a thought leader. So I'm very grateful for that. Next slide, please. And that, I'm going to turn it over to Jessica, and thank you. I am going to be in the section, in the breakout rooms. Please take a look at my LinkedIn profile. The first link on in the chat is my online calendar that's always available. You can also email or text me or call me on my cell phone there. Check out my personal URL. Check out my LinkedIn interview that I had with Jessica. That was wonderful. And with that, I wish you all the very best of luck. Please reach out if I can help out in any way. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for dropping your information in the chat as well. So Anna's information is there, and you can reach out to her and talk to her in the breakout room as well. Thanks for being here. And I know you're working with some of our folks now, and we really appreciate you and what you're doing. All right, so I'm just going to close this out with a couple things for you guys. First of all, if you have any feedback for us today, we would love to have that information. You can email us at contact@careerconnectors.org with any feedback you have or any recommendations you have for future speakers or companies or content, any requests that you have. We are looking at probably starting some type of live events early next year. And so if you have any thoughts about that and what you would like to see at the live events, we would love your thoughts there as well. Even if you're not looking, we continue to have new people that are looking all the time. So would love your guidance there. Thank you to all of our partners that help us make these events happen throughout our community and in the online space. We greatly appreciate you, and thanks for being here today as well. All right, a couple resources, you guys. If you go into our resources tab on our website, you will find these. And one of them is the DISC assessment. And so you can take the DISC assessment. It's a behavioral assessment. It'll give you a report of about 24 pages with some content of you, your style, your ideal work environment, your communication style, strengths that you have. And it'll take you about 10-15 minutes to take. It's free because of a partnership we have with Top Talent Consulting. So I encourage you to take that. You can just incorporate some of the content either into your interviews or on your resume. We also are blogging the event today, and that will be posted in a couple days on our event recap blog. And also all of our social media platforms are listed here. And so we are pretty active on LinkedIn and Facebook primarily, but we also have the other platforms as well. So I encourage you to connect with us and on the social media platforms. Now, here is our upcoming event schedule. We have a really cool event happening on Thursday, June 24th. It is a virtual event, and we are featuring 5 of the fastest growing industries in Arizona. We have over 20 employers booked from these industries. We are doing a panel with a representative from each of the industries that will talk about the industry, the growth. Some of the industries that will be there are technology, finance and business services, manufacturing, construction, and trades, and healthcare. So those industries will be discussed, what it looks like in the future, the growth that's happening in Arizona, the influx of companies, and also corporate headquarters that is happening. Arizona really is a great place to be right now. So that's on Thursday, June 24th. And then on Thursday, July 15th, that DISC that I just talked about, we're going to have a speaker, Marlene Lundy, talk you through understanding your value. And it's going to start with the DISC. And so she's going to pull some stuff out of that and help you as you're in career search to understand the value you bring. And this is for people that are in transition, but also would apply to people that have landed. We will have companies booked for that right now. We have DES booked, but let me park on DES for a minute because I wanted to let you guys know about what just came out from DES. I think it came out this morning. We knew this was happening, but the details came out today. And so there is a return to work bonus happening for people that are currently on unemployment. And so anyone that starts back to a job between May 13th and September 6th may qualify for a bonus of $2,000 for full-time and $1,000 for part-time. And that is after working 10 consecutive weeks, you get that bonus. Now there is a maximum, it's 50, so you can't make more than $52,000 or $25 an hour for this particular bonus. But I want you guys to keep your eye on that if you weren't familiar with that. And that is to encourage people to get back to work and to help with some of those expenses for those that are going back to work. So that's a little bit about DES. I will do a video tomorrow as I learn more of the details on that as well. So you can follow us on our website. We post those videos and also on Instagram. And then on Thursday, July 29th, we are going to have an event. It's a panel event with companies that have professional sales and contact centers in Arizona. We have many of them in Arizona, but the reason we do a panel discussion is because we want you guys to understand the career pathways that happen out of with these companies. And so many great opportunities. All the companies will be announced soon. And then we will be having that event on July 29th. All right, I just wanted to park on this fastest growing event. Robin, thank you. Yes, HonorHealth will be there. And you can see the 5 speakers that are going to be there on the left side of this flyer. Again, June 24th at 9 a.m. to noon. That is Arizona time, which is Pacific Standard Time right now. Register at different than our normal place to register. This one is at azgrowth.pipelineaz.com. You can get there from our site as well, but it will take you into the Pipeline system. Pipeline AZ is one of our partners. And what you do is you upload your resume and it will match jobs to you on the back end. And so then you can see all the company logos of the companies that will be there that day. So we'll have the panel and then for about a half hour, and then we'll have each company speak for a couple minutes. And so you will get access to all of these companies. And then at the end, you'll have an opportunity to jump in a Zoom call with them through the Zoom meeting we're having. So I encourage you to think about these opportunities, even if it's not your industry. All of these companies are open to transferable skills. They are looking for great talent. All right, because we haven't been meeting in live, we are offering these opportunities to get your headshots, your business portraits done, even still, because normally at our live events, we have a photographer there to take your headshots. But Gordon Murray with Flash Photo has been traveling throughout the Phoenix metro area, taking headshots for anyone that is attending Career Connectors. And so he will be in Chandler on June 15th. And then you can see he's in Northwest Phoenix, Southeast Phoenix. And so you can sign up or you can go to any of these events. You can check out our website for more information. It doesn't cost you anything. He will take donations if you feel so inclined. But he has helped so many of our people, especially in this time. We are greatly appreciative to him. And then you can always get our updates. You should be seeing our updates every week. If you aren't seeing them, you can register on careerconnectors.org and subscribe to our newsletter right there. But these 3 areas are on the homepage are where we have different updates. So I post those updates about unemployment and various different job search tips under the career chats with Jessica. So there's some unemployment stuff that we posted in the last couple of weeks there if you're interested in that. And then I'll do an update also to the new details on the bonuses. That'll be up there probably tomorrow. There's a CC community update, and that's where I interview various people within our community. Anna has an interview in there. And so you can get more details about that in there. And then under the CC webinar, that's where this event will be posted. And so we'll get that up also by tomorrow. And so that if you need to look back at anything, that's in there. All right, we run primarily on volunteers. We have about 125 volunteers that serve with Career Connectors. It's crazy. You just think, oh, we'll just do this virtual event. It's so easy to pull off. But if we did not have an army of volunteers behind us, this would not happen. So we have a lot on the call today, a lot of people. So thank you. Woohoo! You guys are rock. We have the best volunteers ever. We so appreciate you. And if you are interested in volunteering, we're always looking for blog writers. And so, which help at our events, and they type up a blog and then submit it into us so we can post all the content from the blog. And we are a 501c3. And so if you are interested in donating, we just had a phenomenal gift this week, a lady that has been attending and she landed, and it cost us $42 per person. And she wanted to sponsor 10 people. So she sent us a check to sponsor 10 people. And she is just awesome. We're so appreciative of that. And so if you would like to donate, we greatly appreciate that. It goes directly to providing these services. Thank you all for being here today. Again, if you have any feedback for us, we would appreciate it. And Sheila's going to jump in here and walk you guys through how to do the breakout rooms. But I want you all to know that we are praying for you every day that you land into the career of your dreams. Thank you for being here, everyone.